are. We're supposed to like uplift each other in different ways, you know?
Yeah.
That was the beauty of being a man and being a woman.
Yeah, it's different.
Everything has to be so like equal now. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh, if I'm gonna do this, you're gonna do this, and vice versa. There's no like, as a woman, especially like older generation, it's like you took pride in cooking your meal.
Yes.
You know,
Now,
now it's like, oh, I don't have to do that. Cook your own meal, which I get. Women work now;
yeah.
they have full-time
Yeah.
jobs. It's different.
And
So
you have to respect that
absolutely,
if your woman works and you
you sh-
expect that woman to come home and cook like she wasn't working, I think
yeah,
that's a little unfair.
absolutely,
But also I feel like um some women feel like it's demeaning to cook for a man, or like if I cook for a man, I'm less of a
yeah,
powerful
strong,
woman.
independent woman.
Yeah. And
I
I think that's misguided. That's a little,
A lot of misguided
yeah.
information,
Yeah.
and a lot of toxic
Yes.
information. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? I feel like yes, everything should be fair, but I don't know, for me, if I'm in a relationship, a happy, healthy relationship, we're both working, I take pride in being the homemaker.
Yes.
Even though it's hard, and okay, I want my other half to help when he can, but if I'm home and I'm cooking, I see no problem with it.
Yeah.
You know, the next day if I'm a little tired and he's like, I'm gonna, throw something on the grill, babe, or I'm gonna do whatever he does, absolutely, thank you.
Correct. Correct.
I
I think before it was a level of satisfaction
mm-hmm.
that a woman would get from
From that.
cooking and taking care of the household, and
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of that has changed, and a lot of women don't feel that way anymore. So when they are home, and let's say even if the man makes enough money and he can pay for everything and
Yeah.
there's nothing missing, because I understand. Look, if there's a need and the woman needs to goes to work,
Yeah.
I understand. But
Absolutely.
if there is no need, I think the woman should be um, satisfied with being at home and taking care of the house
Absolutely. And
with
the
no,
kids
not
and
feeling bad or shame of like I'm
no.
less,
No, because that's a
because
job in itself.
and it's the most important
The
job.
most important
Yes,
job
yes,
and the most rewarding job. I
yes,
mean, I know it's hard. I wish every day that I could have had that stay-at-home mom experience.
yeah,
And I know a lot of stay-at-home moms and I know it's hard and everything, but being able to be in the comfort of your home, watch your children grow, keep your house and your home the way you want it because you have the time to do it
correct.
in an orderly fashion. Your husband's taking the role as the provider. I think that's a beautiful experience. I know some people might differ, but for me, if I was to ever experience that, I would think of that as such a blessing.
Yeah,
Such a blessing.
I think that is the natural way of things.
Yeah.
I think the way things are now, women are always working, which takes that woman out of the house,
Yes.
which means your kid is being raised and being taught too early by
Yeah.
other people. I
Other
feel like
people.
before there was, after a certain age, after you already taught your kid a certain amount of things, then they could go
Yeah.
and be taught by somebody else, because hopefully you already taught the basics, which they're not going to be corrupted by somebody else.
Absolutely.
And that is completely lost now by the working women.
Yeah.
And it's tricky.
It is tricky and it's hard too because of today's economy and how expensive everything is nowadays. If you're not making a substantial income,
Yeah,
especially if it's for a stay-at-home mom, if
yeah,
your other half is not making some substantial money
yeah,
to survive in today's economy is
yeah,
hard, like with rent and housing and food. And
yeah.
so it's like a lot of times you need those two incomes, and daycare doesn't make it any easier. Daycare is so expensive.
Sometimes it's cheaper just for the woman to stay at home than
Yeah.
to pay the
I
daycare.
remember when my daughter was in daycare, and I think back, especially when she was a newborn, of what I used to pay. And basically, it was like my check a week,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
just for somebody to watch my kid. So here I am, I'm stressed out, I'm working as hard as I can, get my daughter to be watched. And it's like I have no quality of life because I come home, I'm tired. You know what I mean? All this time that I should be spending on her, I'm worried about, okay, now I got to get everything done in the house. I'm still not making enough to like live as comfortable as I want to be. So the
Correct.
stresses come out.
Yeah.
And I feel
It's
like
tough.
that's where a lot of women take on that masculinity role. And it's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to have to, okay, I have to do all this. And then I got to worry about taking care of a man. Like,
Yeah.
no. So I
Yeah.
think that's where it's changed generationally.
I think it goes a little bit of both ways because
Yeah.
sometimes it could turn, and we don't know each other that well.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it a woman like you, because you have to do it by yourself. You
Yeah.
probably value,
Yeah.
and you see the value in having a man
Yeah.
to provide and do all those
Absolutely.
things.
Yeah.
And maybe a woman that uh,
Already has it.
that has it but can't appreciate it because she's never been on the other side. So she's just
Yeah.
like,
She doesn't know what it's
yeah, it's
like
like,
to
yeah,
like have to do everything by yourself and
correct,
just be like, oh my God, worn out and still be a good mom and
correct,
still be, attentive and still be in the right mental frame to give your kids a good quality of life. I mean,
yeah,
granted, I only have one, but I always look at like single moms with multiple children that are really doing their damn thing. Those are like single parents in general,
yeah.
whether it's a man or a woman.
That is,
Taking care
look,
of that role by yourself,
look,
those are the real superheroes.
yeah, I
Those are the real superheroes.
yes, I have. It's me and my wife. We take
Hmm.
care of our kids,
Yeah,
and it's hard.
I know.
And we make a good team, and we work
I
great
know.
together, and it's hard. So I cannot imagine somebody doing it by themselves
It's insane.
because you know, I like, let's say me, um, money wise is no problem.
Yep.
But what about the time that those kids need that
I
I'm not
know.
gonna be able, because I'm working, I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
able to provide that for them. Or we could take it even further. We could take it away from the material things, the money. We could just take it as in like, look, my wife is way softer and way more nurturing
Like gentle
to those
parenting.
kids than I
Yeah.
could ever be. Now, I have boys. I don't have girls. I
Yeah.
have two boys.
Okay.
I don't know. I missed out on the girls, but I have
It's
two
never
boys.
too late. You're young.
I think it's over for us.
Yeah.
But I have two boys, and I appreciate that they get to feel another,
Yeah.
because I'm a little more, they're boys. So I have to
Yeah.
be, this is how you do it. This is, you're a man. This is how
Yeah.
things are done. Get it done. And she, brings in the role of like soft, and because you need both.
Yeah.
And I feel
Definitely.
like even that gets lost of, I hear women saying, I don't need a dad, or my
Yeah.
son does not need a father.
They
Very
absolutely
wrong.
do.
Yeah.
They absolutely do.
Yeah.
Granted, given your situation, it might not happen, but they absolutely do. Just
Yeah.
the same as a little girl needs her father.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just it's a big role in development that when a lot of people miss out on those different aspects, it changes
Yeah.
them as a person.
Yeah. That's why we have the sayings of
Yeah.
daddy issues or mommy
Mommy
issues.
issues, exactly.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that didn't have their fathers or didn't have their mothers, vice versa, and they struggle, to this day with the abandonment issues, you know, the anxiety,
Yes.
it's a lot.
And like, for men that grow up without their fathers, especially, there's a lot of there's a dynamic that happens between men, that only
Yeah.
happens between men.
Yeah.
A woman can never understand that dynamic. Like, let's say your kid gets bullied or gets into a fight. A
Yeah.
mom's reaction is, I'm gonna go there and
Yeah.
raise hell. A,
Yeah.
a father is like, listen, this is how men operate. This is part
Yeah.
of being a man. You have to learn
Yeah.
how to set your boundaries and get your respect from another man. If I
Absolutely.
go there and I fix this for you, the opposite happens. You're actually losing respect from those
Hmm.
other men.
No. Yeah.
So I talk to my boys and be like, hey, do this, you do that.
Yeah.
No violence or nothing, but this is a way for you to get your respect. And there's two different views from a man, from a
And a
woman.
woman.
Exactly.
It's always going to be like that.
Yes.
That's why they're so important, the differences. You know what I mean? The
Correct.
women can come in with the nurturing, the gentle side, the
Correct.
reasoning,
Correct.
but we definitely need that male input of, like you said, just developmentally,
Yes.
especially for boys.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think any woman can truly fulfill those shoes. You
No.
just can't. You can try,
Yeah.
but they still need that,
Correct.
you know?
There's a level of of emotional difference that how a man thinks and how a
And
woman
how a
thinks, and it's
woman thinks.
you could do whatever you want, but you can't really change that,
Mm.
and it's tough. It's tough. Like I said, the modern relationships for both sides, for men and women, is so tough. I am so glad I am with my wife and my kids, and I
Yeah.
am not like in this open because it's messy. I see
Yeah,
it out
this
there. I'm
is
like,
just
oh
a
boy.
sea of trash
Yeah, I'm
at
like,
this point. I
oh.
hate to put it like that. Everybody that's left is destroyed, destructive, and just has serious mental issues. It's very hard. That's why I feel like to a lot of the people that are single out here and looking, there's a lot, especially depending on what stage of life you're in. The 20s are fun. Have your fun.
Yeah,
Go out there,
yeah,
explore, do whatever you want,
yeah,
be reckless, because that's your time.
yeah,
The 30s is more about reasoning. And this is this time you have to start really thinking about your future, the dynamic you want to surround yourself, the
yes,
people you want to be in contact with, because it's all going to develop the next stage in your life.
yes,
And I learned that in my 30s. You know, there's a lot of trial and tribulations because this is the time where you're really going to make or break your future. You know,
yes.
I mean, you can still go on, you're not dead. I'm just saying this is a real, like, pivotal point in your development. This is where you should really start. Okay,
No more games.
let's kick it in gear.
You know, it's
Let's kick
funny.
it in gear.
I
You
said, I
know,
said to my wife, you know, me and my wife been together before I was you. We've been together for almost 15 years now,
that's awesome.
and I think I was 19 when we got together.
Sounds like me and my daughter's father. I was
Yes,
18
we were.
when I met.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
you know, we've been together since
Yeah.
for a long time,
Yep.
and I've in throughout that time, I've learned that if if it helps to have experience, but I also I feel like it also hurts you
Yeah.
because the more you've been hurt by something or somebody, the harder it is for you to be either man or woman. So I see it both ways. You know, a
Yeah.
woman that's been hurt a lot, she brings that to the next relationship, and she's guarded, and
So hard.
she can't really let it go. And I also seen it on men that's been done wrong when they go to the other woman, to a new woman, they're like looking to the phone. They're like they bring their past into the new relationship. So it makes it. I think it makes it difficult.
Yeah.
The
Or
more you
they
go through
continue
things,
the cycle.
yes,
A lot of people that don't heal,
yeah,
hurt people hurt people.
yes,
So if you come out of a relationship where you're hurt, you're broken, you could meet the most fantastic person of your life,
hmm,
literally the person sent to heal you.
yeah,
But because you're not ready to sit in whatever you got going on, fix what you have internally,
no,
well, you know what you do? You take that healed, beautiful soul and you break them.
yep,
And then what happened to that person that finally trusted and was open and vulnerable? They
yeah.
go back and they go back
And
into
do it
their
the same.
dark demons and it's just a cycle.
Yep,
You know what I mean? That's why it's so important. If you go through the steps to heal and awaken yourself and sit in your own issues, and you come to a point where you're really in a good space,
yes,
you need to really be guarded. You need to really do the work, get to know people, really, really choose the people. And I know it's hard because there's a lot of people out here with masks.
yes,
You know, especially when you first meet them, everything's great. They're
yes,
so amazing.
yep.
You wouldn't, you know,
Or social media.
yes,
It
they
makes
make
everything look so
themselves
great. Yeah,
sound, oh my God, this person's it. You
yep.
know, they got all the qualities I need.
Have
And
everything
it's
figured
all a
out.
facade,
Yes,
all a facade.
yes,
It's all just to make everybody think. And then you actually get into this person's space
and
and it's like, wow,
you see the
who
real
are
person.
you?
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah,
Who are you? And I've put myself in too many positions like that. And it's scary.
yeah,
And the healing process is not easy, especially once you've healed and somebody just tears you down again. it's like, wow.
Yeah. I'm a very big believer on also on like it takes work.
It
Like I tell
does.
you, me and my wife's been together for 15 years.
Yeah,
It's not all been roses,
of course
it's
not.
there's work that has to be done to,
Yeah,
it's hard. But
yeah,
the key part is, does that person unconditionally wants good for you?
exactly.
Because that is the key to everything. Like my wife, whether we're together or not, I want nothing bad to ever happen to her, and it's been like that forever because we started out as
That's
friends.
amazing.
And I think that is something that you, if you find that in somebody, because they're gonna hurt you, even that being true, right? Like
They're
even
gonna hurt you.
yeah.
Don't say that.
Oh, it's the truth. Like, you're still gonna mess up.
Mm,
And I'm not talking about cheating or nothing like that. It's just
yeah,
you might not catch something. She might be feeling this way that day,
yeah.
and you just didn't
And you
see it.
overlooked it.
Exactly.
Those are minor things, though,
Exactly.
and I think those are very like part of the learning each other process.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is a beautiful thing.
Because people make it all seem like, oh, well, I don't know, and people experience this, but it's not always cheating that breaks up a relationship.
Yeah.
It's not. Sometimes it is, but
I don't want to even cross that bridge, but yeah, well, yeah.
yeah, no, like there's a lot of stuff that go into it. Sometimes the cheating happens because of
The lack of other things.
exactly. It just builds up to
Yeah.
cheating.
Yeah.
So I think if the person genuinely cares for you and wants good for you, there's always going to be that level of respect that intentionally, at least
Yeah.
intentionally, they won't hurt you.
Yes.
This is a difference. If I don't mean to hurt you and I hurt you, I didn't mean to. I didn't even know how I did it sometimes.
Yeah.
But when you like calculate something, like cheating, like that shit's calculated. Like
That's the worst.
yeah, like
Yeah,
that
intentionally hurting
yeah, like
hurting somebody.
know.
Yeah. Like completely disregarding somebody's feelings, knowing what you're doing is completely wrong because we
Yeah,
all know that,
yeah,
and still allowing yourself to do it takes a different type of person, I feel
yes,
like.
yeah,
I just don't feel like you can ever love somebody truly and allow yourself to hurt them in that way. It's just it to me. I there's no there's no swaying with me on that at all
there
because
isn't,
there's
there
no
isn't.
swaying. There's no swaying because you know what you're doing.
Exactly. We're grown
You're
adults.
grown
You're
adult,
not a kid.
especially at this age. You know
Yeah,
exactly what you're doing.
correct.
And I feel like that level of betrayal is the worst. And especially a lot of times, that goes years or long times without, the other person catching on. So you've sat in this person's space, you've seen them struggle, you've seen them worry, and you just constantly lie.
Yeah, yeah,
And it's a completely different level of disrespect, and I feel like it takes a certain type of individual to carry on things like that.
correct.
I think you have to have a level of evil inside of you, and I
100%.
always say that you have to have a level of evil in you to do something like that to somebody and not care.
Correct. I agree.
Expect or care when
I
you get
agree.
caught. Then you
Yeah.
get caught, and then it's
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I never meant to do that. No, but you did.
Yeah.
You did.
Like, look, if you
Mhm.
cheat, man or woman, like,
Yeah.
if you love that person, okay, whatever the mistake happened for whatever the reason,
Yeah.
the first thing you should do is go confess.
Absolutely.
Go to like, this happened.
I'm
I don't
so
know if you want
sorry.
to. I don't know if you want to keep going.
Yeah.
I'm telling you because I really care, and this is really bad. And
I
I don't
made a
know
mistake.
exactly.
You know what
I'm
I
just
mean?
gonna tell you
I'm gonna tell you the truth
E-
before it comes out and it hurts you worse.
exactly.
I respect that. Honestly,
And then it's
I
up to
respect
them.
that.
It's up to them if they
I,
forgive you.
honestly, I respect that. I feel like if that was like let's say it was like a one-time thing, something happened, you were man or woman enough to come to that person and be
Yeah.
like, listen, like you said, I screwed up.
Yeah.
I feel like I could understand why somebody would forgive somebody for that. But I feel like a lot of times when that does happen and the person gets forgiven,
They think it's a
they
pass.
think like it's a little bit of a pass. Especially if they're not if they're very immature and
Mature,
they're
yeah.
thinking, they're like, oh well, she or he, I'm good now. Like if I do it again, like, you know what I mean? I'll wait a little bit and do it again. And
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I just don't understand why people want to do that. It's like, go be single,
Yeah. Yeah.
go be
Exactly.
single. Like, go date. You don't have to bring somebody in your space if you're going to intentionally hurt them. It
Exactly.
just makes no sense.
I feel like usually there's a level of one person really loves the other one. The other one doesn't really love that person, but needs him in some type of way,
Some type of way.
and they can't end it for that
Yeah.
reason. So that I think that's what
No, I
it
agree with
usually
you.
comes down to.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
And a lot of time it's greed too. It's like, oh, okay, this person does this, this, and this for me, but this other person gives me this, this, and this. And I want both of it.
Yeah, I think you know what I think. One of the issues from again we go same talk we were talking about the modern state of relationship between men and women. Before everything was very, of course, a there's always been classism when it comes to this.
Yeah.
People in the high class, they do whatever they want, they get
Yeah.
away with whatever
Yeah,
they want.
because
I don't agree with that.
people hate when it's funny you brought up that topic because I've argued with so many people about I feel like celebrities there's no hope in that world.
Mm,
I hate to say it. You have to be when I tell you you have to be the most strong-minded individual cuz you got to think these people have all the money, they have all the attention. They can literally have anything they want at any time
yep,
given to them.
yep,
So with that type of liberty, it takes a really emotionally intelligent person, a person that really holds morality at a high
yes,
regard
yes.
to be able to
Which back in the day was something that was like it was a
praise.
status, yeah,
Yeah, it was
praise.
praise. You're
You
right.
like
You're right.
you have if a man said he was gonna do something, he
He's
had to
got to
do it.
do it.
If you
Yeah.
as a man you didn't have a word,
Yeah.
it's an issue. Like even to the point where like if a man had a child of a work, like it was looked down upon him
No, it's so true.
because it's like no, just be a man and say it like have them both on like on public, like be
Yeah.
a man enough to have
Have
two wives
two wives.
if that's what it is,
Yeah.
not lying to the
Not
other one.
lying to the other person
Exactly,
and deceiving.
exactly.
Absolutely. And I feel like good relationships, even though, there was a lot back in the day, we hear a lot of stories from our grandparents, but
Yeah,
a lot of the like old school values, meaning like home, community, church, love, whatever it was, like it was looked at as a beautiful thing. When you seen a family
yeah,
together, it was like praised upon. Nowadays, I feel like these toxic lifestyles
yeah.
is just like
And my
it's
point
lit.
was, yeah,
It's lit. Like,
exactly.
it's whatever. Like, it's sad. It's so sad.
And the thing is, as they get older, then they start realizing that it was all meaningless. There was
Meaningless.
no fulfillment out of that. And then
Absolutely
they
not.
try to go back and
And then you miss out on some really amazing individuals
yeah,
because you going down this path of finding yourself and you're hurting all these people in the meantime. It's like a lot of times you're not going to find that same person twice. That
yeah,
that one person that was real good to you
yeah.
and you stomped on them.
I
It's like
think
you're going to look for them in
yeah,
every other person
that's the worst.
afterwards and you're never going to find
That's
that
the worst
person.
too.
That's the
Because
worst.
then you're just comparing
You're
everything.
comparing.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's bad.
But the point was, is back then there was a level of standard.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there was like for a woman to date a man, that man had to have certain qualities. He
Qualities.
had to be
Yeah.
able to take care of you. Like you know, you wouldn't just your family wouldn't just let you date anybody.
No.
There was like no
They had
he
like dowries and gifts where you had to give
exactly
money to the
yeah
family and
exactly, and it
yeah.
was to prove a certain amount of I really like this person. I'm
Yeah.
trying really hard. I'm putting myself out there, and
Yeah.
vice versa with the women. The women had to
Absolutely.
practice not
Cooking and cleaning
cook,
and
learning all
yeah,
that stuff,
learning all the
and
stuff. Yep.
not being out there, showing
Yeah.
everything.
Saying yeah in the
Exactly,
club every week. Yeah,
exactly.
no,
So
absolutely.
all those things added up to like, hey, that's a woman I want to do the right thing by because she's doing
Absolutely.
the right thing.
Because she's doing the right thing. There was
Exactly.
values.
Exactly.
There was
Now, because there is no standard
there's
and
no standard.
exactly.
It's like it is what it is,
Now
all for
it's
nothing.
so superficial.
Oh my God, it's
Do
so
I like the way you look?
It is. It's like,
and that's it.
and that's it. Are we gonna be able to put on our matching outfits, take
Yep.
really good pictures, put it on social media? How many likes how many people can envy us?
Yeah.
They don't know what's really going on. We could be
Correct.
completely insane.
Yep.
This could be the most
Sick
toxic
thing ever.
lifestyle. But I want to show you
Yep.
the outer world that it's not. So
Yep.
I'll just put on everything is superficial now. Everything is base layer. Like you said, everything is just image.
Yep.
If it looks good, it's got to be good,
Exactly.
you know?
Exactly.
So I think that that's where a lot of things have changed, you know?
Correct. And it's I don't even know how to get back to like
I don't think
I
you know
don't know.
what's scary is I really don't think we ever will. With the technology and now the AI and everything is just so superficial now. We had in our generation, we had this base of authenticity that was like looked high upon, like people that were unique, different, they brought character, people like that. Now it's all base level. Everybody looks the same, everybody dresses the same, everybody
Yep.
wants the same lifestyle, everybody wants to drive the same cars, everybody wants to go in the same places for vacation. It's just, do you not see like this mass following of follow the leader, whatever the hierarchy is doing?
Yeah.
That's what we must do.
Yep.
There's no originality. If you're not fitting that standard,
Yep.
you're nobody.
Yep. And that goes
You know
to
what I mean? Why is your 8-year-old not wearing Balenciaga sneakers to school?
correct.
You know what I mean? Like, it's insane.
Yeah, even to the point where like, when you were that age, you didn't care exactly
You
what you
didn't
were
care. We
wearing,
didn't even
anything.
know. When my
Exactly.
mom would take us to Payless,
Yeah.
and it was a great time. Like I had
Exactly.
no idea, like
you start thinking about that stuff once you
Yeah.
start growing up, high school and stuff.
Yes.
Now my kids
In high school, yeah, because that's normal.
exactly.
Yeah.
But now 8 years old, like I want the new Jordans because that's what
You have no
everybody's
idea.
wearing.
My 9-year-old was asking me for like $150 skincare. She's 9 years old.
Your skin
Like
is beautiful, mama.
like your skin is porcelain.
Yeah.
Like you don't even have
Yeah.
a blemish. Why do you need skincare?
Yeah.
But mommy, I need this. Her Christmas
That is
list was
so-
like a 25-year-old, and I'm part to blame because we allow our kids to be on these tablets and look at YouTube and they see these unreal families
Yeah, exactly.
doing unrealistic things and they want to meet that standard. It's like, well, she did that. Her mom got her that, My daughter's asking, oh, can we go to Legoland? I'm like, oh, okay, that's a no. No, I want to go to the one in Tokyo. Oh, because mama can just,
Yeah.
I'll just book that flight right now and
Yeah.
we'll be on our way to Tokyo.
Yeah,
Like,
my kid's the same thing. My kid's like, oh, can
It's
we
like,
go to Japan? I'm
yeah,
like,
first of all, how did you we didn't even know stuff like that.
But
It's
see,
just the
that's
access to information
exactly.
nowadays.
They're growing up so fast,
So
in
fast.
different ways.
Yeah.
Slower in some ways.
Yeah.
Because
They have no social skills. The
yes,
kids have no
yeah,
social skills.
Yeah, they don't know
nowadays.
what it is to like I always say this. There was nothing better than courting a woman as a kid.
Oh my God, I know.
Like, having to go knock on the door and be like,
Yeah,
hey,
so
can I,
cute.
like,
Yeah.
all those, like that stress of like thinking about it, or even just calling. Back then, there was no cell phones.
Yeah.
Just calling a girl's house and you had to the mom was going to answer. You had to tell them who you are
Yeah.
and who you calling for. And somebody might be listening on the, on the other line.
Usually your parent or your
Yeah,
grandparent, I always
exactly.
got caught like, get off the phone, it's too
Exactly.
late,
Or like, mom, take me and this girl to the movies, and your mom will sit there.
Yeah,
like,
in the back row.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All that stuff are gone.
Gone.
Those kids are never gonna be able to experience that, and it's sad.
It's very sad, I try my best to instill some of the old school values in my child, but because you can it's just the way of the world. Like you can try, but once they go to school and once they get around other children and once they're out in this world of like any other kid, they want to fit in. You know what I mean? So it's like, but they're doing it. Why can't I, mommy? But I don't understand. I try to limit my daughter to 2 hours a day
It's hard.
on the
On the
tablet.
tablet,
I
yeah.
try so hard. And it's always, mommy, can I get 5 more minutes? Mommy,
Yeah,
but my
yeah.
friend, and as a parent,
You don't
it's
want
so hard. You want to be strict and say no, but at the same time, it's like, oh, I don't want them to be that kid that misses out.
you don't want to isolate them
You don't
from
want to
everybody
isolate,
else.
You want them to, because kids are cruel.
The worst.
Kids
The
are
worst.
freaking
Yeah.
cruel.
They have no
Okay?
filter. They
They have no
just say
filter.
whatever.
You want to know the truth? Ask a child.
Yeah, it's like
They're
I
going to
tell.
tell you.
It's like my youngest. Don't ask him nothing if you
My
want to get your
daughter
feelings hurt.
too. My daughter be telling me things and I'm just like, girl, really? You're gonna say that to your
Yeah,
mother? But it's the
it's
absolute
the
truth.
truth. Yeah,
It's the absolute truth. And
yeah,
sometimes I gotta sit back and be like, oh,
yeah,
these kids know, you know?
yeah. It's tough.
It
It's
is
tough.
tough. Being a parent is not
It's the best thing.
it
It's also
is.
the
I love it, but it's it has its moments where you just have to really like do some reflection, like, wow.
yeah. I try to with my kids. I try to trick them
Yeah.
into watching old school things that I'm sure they'll
Okay.
like.
Yeah.
Like I usually introduce them to like cartoons
Oh, I
and things
love
like
that.
that. That
Yeah.
I know I'm like, you know what, this is something that I know is good for them, and they could
Yeah.
like take something from this. My boys love sports. Where
Oh,
like
that's awesome.
everything we do is sports, sports,
Sports,
sports.
sports. Yeah.
So like I try to guide what they watch with that. So
Yeah.
like oh, let's watch this, let's watch this, let's watch this, and they
Hmm.
just fall into because they like sports, so they fall into that. So I managed to keep them what I like a old school way of thinking
Yeah.
through still with the tablet and whatever, but
Hmm.
I pick what they watch.
Yeah.
Something that I know they'll like. My youngest is harder with my youngest. He's like, I don't know. He doesn't like,
Yeah.
the old school, TV the way it looks.
Yeah,
But
my daughter, she's pretty open to it. We watch a lot of like old school. Like the other day, we watched Drop Dead Fred.
yeah,
That was one of my
but yeah,
favorite childhood movies, and she loved it. She
yeah,
was
that's
like,
like
"Wow, this was such a great movie, mommy. You had good movies when you were young." And I was
yeah.
like, "Yeah, no, I did."
I try to go and go through those old school movies so
Yeah,
like the kids see the
the
difference. Like
difference.
we're big on Adam Sandler in my house. It's
Okay,
just hilarious.
we love him.
And then you
Yeah.
see like grown ups. And then you
Oh,
see
that was such a good
like oh look,
movie.
you could go outside and play. That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
Instead of
That was
just
a great movie to
yeah,
show like of
the
like the
difference.
difference.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and how the
no.
their own kids were like going.
Yeah.
So I like intentionally put thought on what we're gonna watch
Mhm.
so they could get something out of it. It
No, I love
just
that. I love
yeah,
that.
but it's hard.
It is.
What do you think? What do you think? It's what advice will you give to a single woman out there, and that might be young and doesn't know what to do.
I would say take your time in
Be
everything.
selective.
Very
Be
selective,
picky.
super picky, and don't rush it.
Yeah.
You're not missing out. Don't try to keep up, but very much take your time because especially if you have children, it's so hard out here and there's so many people that aren't worth bringing in your energy.
Yeah.
And
My mother. I have a stepdad,
okay.
and I tell my mom the best thing she ever did was, you know, me and my real dad and her didn't work out.
Yeah.
My dad is still was part of my life,
Yeah.
my real dad,
That's
and I
awesome.
also had a great stepfather.
That's awesome.
So I always tell my mom, I was like, that was the one of the best things you did. It was
Yeah.
because I still had a man in the house
Yeah.
that I could see that was worth of like your kid trying to emulate that person.
Yeah.
Wasn't perfect,
Yeah.
but good enough where like you want your kid to grow up and be like that.
Yeah.
Better, of course, we all want our kids to be better, but if he
Yeah.
comes out at least in that form, it's not bad.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I always think my mom's like, you gave me two dads.
No, that's
I have an
awesome.
advantage on a lot of dudes out there
Yeah.
because I
I
had two good ones.
Yeah, both my parents got divorced when I was 7. So I had both a stepfather and a stepmother. And I will say honestly, it was the best thing for my parents.
That's another thing.
As a
Yes.
child, I didn't understand it because I was young, and of
Yeah.
course, you want your parents to be together. But now, looking back as an adult, that was the best thing they could ever done for me because they both grew in different ways that
Yeah.
they needed to be better parents for us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you get the bonus parents, which is awesome too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes it doesn't
Yeah,
work out, and
it doesn't.
it's okay to know when
It's
to
okay.
call it quits because
And that doesn't make your family any
no,
less.
no,
You know what I mean? I
no,
think sometimes a lot of us get hard on ourselves. I was with my daughter's father since I was 18 years old, the only guy, like, majority of my life. And my biggest thing, especially when I had my daughter, was like, oh, like she needs to have two parents in the home. She has to have two parents in the home because I never had that. I never
Yeah.
had that. And I think a lot of people think like that, but you need to think of the dynamic in your home too. Is it healthy? Are you guys truly happy? Like, is this a good environment for your kids? Those are some things you have to be realistic about, and it's okay if it's not.
Yeah.
Like, don't get hard on yourself. Like,
Yeah.
it's not going to make you any less because you decided to part ways to be healthier for your kids. You
Sometimes
know what I
that's
mean?
better. If
Absolutely.
it's really bad, it's worse for them to grow
Yeah,
up looking at that and thinking
absolutely.
that that's okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah. So it's better. It's better if
Yeah,
things are not working.
yeah,
But always, I don't understand you know, I never been through it, and my parents kind of went through it for a little bit, sort
yeah,
of, where once they separated, there was a little bit of tension.
yeah. Of course,
And yeah, I guess that's
that's
normal. You go
normal.
through that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. My parents as well.
Yeah. But they managed to be okay
Yeah,
and be like, they're not see each other fighting or anything.
yeah.
They could see each other
Doesn't
and
have
have
to
a
be volatile.
conversation, and there's
Yeah,
no issues, because if you guys break up but you guys have a healthy relationship and can co-parent
yeah,
together, and even though the dad's not there, he's making sure the mom is not. That's a big thing
yeah,
where, like, I've always told my kids, and I always told my wife, like, look,
yeah.
me and you break up, you're the mother of my kids. Could never struggle. I could never be good,
Oh,
like leaving happy, and my kids that stay with you, and you're struggling,
and you're
because then my kids
struggling.
see that, and
Yeah,
then if my kids are smart like me, they're gonna look at my dad and be like, hey,
yeah,
where the hell was you when my mom, which I live with, was struggling? And I don't
yeah.
want my kids to ever look at me
That's a
like
real
that.
man dynamic right there.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't
old,
have that.
that
It's
that was
old school.
normal
Yeah,
before. That's
not
not
no
that's
more.
not a special thing.
Not no more.
You
Not
you
no more.
you take care of the household. Like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter what happened. And again,
It
also,
takes a lot of maturity.
yeah,
It takes a lot of maturity because a lot of people can't stand the fact of seeing, especially if like your other half goes and be's happy with somebody else, they can't be mature enough to accept that.
yeah,
So it's like, no, 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 I want to see you struggling. I'm not going to help you with nothing, like blah, blah, blah,
yeah,
not realizing how that could affect your child as well.
correct.
You know,
Correct. It's a balance.
it
Like I said,
is.
that's why I always bring it back to, like, if that respect is always there
Mm-hmm.
from both sides, even if mistakes are made, but the respect is never lost.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can do those things. Like,
Absolutely.
you know, it was very normal back in the day for, hey, me
Oh,
and you didn't work
absolutely.
out, fine, I'll still
Absolutely.
take care of the household. And,
Absolutely.
till you get married or find somebody else, you find somebody
Yeah.
else, and no problem. That that man is take.
My grandfather, he left. My grandparents split up years and years ago, and he left my grandmother the house, made sure, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Like,
a
that's just what you did.
that's what you do
Now it's
as a man. That's what you do.
now you see people splitting. There these volatile divorces. They
Yeah,
didn't, one wants to take completely everything and
yeah,
leave the other one with nothing, and
yeah.
just like, come on, like at the end of the day, you guys came together and you made a whole other person. And that
Correct.
person deserves stability. They would deserve a healthy environment.
Correct.
They would deserve to see maturity.
Correct.
I love when I see separated couples and they are
That
just co-parenting so nice,
great.
like great. They can be around each other. The
Yeah,
two of it's the most beautiful thing I've ever
yeah,
seen.
yeah.
Like it
When
really is.
even when the other one gets another,
Yeah, they have
in
other
another
kids.
relationship, and
Like,
everything
yeah,
is
like
just fine.
it's just a
Yeah,
beautiful, like they can all come together. I think that is absolutely beautiful and amazing.
that is the biggest sign of maturity.
A
Like,
sign,
yeah,
absolutely, and it's sad to say it's so rare, but when you see it, it's like that's what it's about. That's if people could just get out of their ego,
well, cause
because it's all ego.
yeah,
It's
and
everything's ego driven,
yeah,
you know,
and usually somebody's always trying to prove, my life is better than
better
yours
than
now,
yours. Yeah,
and instead of, like, look, and this I'm talking when there's kids involved. If there's no kids
absolutely.
involved,
Forget it.
just
Yeah, just
go your
go
separate
about your
ways.
ways.
There's no
Like
reason for you guys to ever, like,
talk again if you
exactly,
don't want to.
exactly. But there's
Mhm.
kids involved. It should always be, we are a team from
From
this
this
moment.
moment, we
No
are a
matter
team.
what the hell happens,
We're in it for life.
exactly.
I
That's the
don't think
point.
people
Yeah,
realize how serious when you have a child with
yeah.
somebody it is.
They think we break up, I could be the father to my kid, and you
Yeah.
could be the mother, and
And
we don't
that
have to deal with each other.
no, you
Yeah,
absolutely do.
Yeah.
Because any event that child has,
Anything.
anything, you're going to be there. You're going to be around
You
that
have
other person.
that person's raising your kid when you're not there.
Yes,
You have to.
you have to.
Yeah.
But I just feel like a lot of people can't get to that base of maturity, and it's so sad.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
And I don't know what the hell happened because before, like, people did this no
It
problem.
was so
Yeah.
normalized, like, and it
Yeah.
was just like, people just did it all the time. Now it's just so taboo.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, we're not. Well, that's weird. Like, no, screw her. Like, that's my baby mom. Like, she can go to hell. That's my baby dad. He can go to hell. Like,
Yeah.
why?
Yeah.
Like, why? I would never, ever, ever want anything to happen to my daughter's father. Like, you know what I mean? At the end of the day,
That's
I will always wish him well. I always want him to be successful, do the greatest things in his life, whether we were together or not, because my daughter deserves to see a healthy, stable man in her life.
whatever.
Whether it's with me or not,
Mhm.
I want her to see that. I want her to be able to say, yes, that's my dad. He's happy that I'm happy. Because I know what it's like to see your parents struggle and fight and stuff. Before my parents got good, it was bad.
Bad.
Like, it was real bad. And
Yeah.
it did a lot on me and my little brother.
Well, that's the
You
thing.
know?
That's the part that I come back to. That's why I said, like, is my job, at least, like, in the sense of, like, if you break up with the mother of your kids, shelter, safety,
Yeah,
that's something that you should provide,
absolutely.
because your kids are gonna see and have to deal with the trauma that that woman's dealing with.
Mm,
That's gonna be transferred onto them. Whether when they
absolutely.
come to your house everything's cool,
Yeah.
they still have to see that. And DNA is a hell of a thing.
Yeah.
You're wired to love your mom and your dad.
Of course.
Doesn't matter how bad they are.
Nope.
Doesn't matter. You could tell your kid that man is whatever.
They don't.
That kid
And a
is gonna
lot of
love that.
times
It makes him love him more.
yeah, it's a lot of times they resent you because
Yeah.
from that. I
Yeah.
don't think parents realize when
Yeah.
you down the other parent in front of your child, that child sees not what you see.
Yep.
They, like you said, they see that as their dad or their mom, and that's a unconditional
Yeah.
bond.
You can't.
You know what I
It's
mean? So while
wired.
you're downing them and they're not this and they're not that, they're just looking at you some type of way.
Yeah.
Like, how dare you talk about my parent like that?
Mhm.
It's not a healthy way to do things. I feel like adult issues should always just be adult issues. Let your child live, let them be kids, let them, even if you got to be a little delusional when you're around them, even if you're not, they just do it for your child in that moment. Don't give them that experience because they really don't deserve it. These
Correct.
babies deserve health.
Correct.
It's only going to make them better people.
100% agree.
Yeah.
One thing before we go, I would like
Okay.
to say to, again, it doesn't have to be a single mother, just
Any
a single young girl. Let's say
Yeah.
at a 17-year-old that's about to start experiencing
Oh my
life.
God.
What would you
17. That
what
was
would you
great.
tell him? What would you like somebody to tell you at that age?
What I would tell my 17-year-old self is enjoy every moment, the good and bad. Take it for what it is. This too shall pass is my favorite quote
Yes.
because there's going to be a lot of scenarios you're going to go through to develop the woman that you're one day going to become, and that's okay. Don't be too hard on yourself. Nobody's got it all figured out, especially at that age. I feel like when you're at that age, you feel like you have something to prove, you want to grow up quick. No. Enjoy that youth. Enjoy messing up. Enjoy trying again. Enjoy exploring because that's the beauty in it. You're
Exactly.
finding yourself.
Exactly.
Don't try to like lock yourself into a situation. Oh, I met this guy. He's great. No, 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 no.
Exactly.
Give yourself time. He might be great, but that trip to Paris might be great too. That internship in LA might be great too.
Correct.
Sometimes I feel like we as individuals, man and woman, we get caught up in the theory of just getting with somebody and making a life and forgetting about us as individuals, especially women. I feel like a lot of us are programmed to think like, okay, you just want to meet a good guy, and which is great. But I feel like as women in our development, we really need to go through the stages. Get your first apartment by yourself. See what it's like to live on your own. Travel.
Correct.
See what it's like to see outside of where you've grown up, even if it's just in the States. You know what I
Correct.
mean? Go on a road trip with your friends. Explore, mess up, have fun. These are memories you're never going to get
Yeah.
back.
Yeah.
And I just feel like it's so important as a young woman to experience, even if it's just for a 5-year span.
Correct.
I'm just saying, don't rush it. Give
Correct.
yourself time.
Yeah.
You know,
Learn yourself first,
learn yourself,
so you know
know
what you
who
like.
you are.
Yes.
Yes. And you're only going to get that by trial and error, exploring and having, going through different situations that were going to help you heal and grow as a person.
Correct.
That brings wisdom. Time brings wisdom. So if you rush everything, you're never going to give yourself time to learn and develop correctly as the woman you should.
Correct.
It's only going to help you as you get older. I know from experience.
Correct.
So that would just be my advice to young women. Have fun.
Correct.
Life
And
is so short. Life is so short. Those years go by so quick. 20 to 40
correct.
flash.
I think my biggest advice to a woman or a guy is just it's okay to make mistakes.
Absolutely.
Grow from it.
Yeah.
Cry if you need to cry at the moment that it happens, but don't let it consume you
No.
and move on.
Yeah.
Because I know at that age and at any age, it feels like nowadays everybody's so focused on what everybody thinks about them.
my
And the
gosh.
reality is they truly don't care.
Nobody
As much
cares.
as you think,
Nobody cares.
as much
Yeah.
as you think they care and they're
Yeah.
paying attention, everybody's focusing on living their own life because no
Yeah.
matter rich, poor, in our relationship or not a relationship, you have your own things to deal with.
Absolutely.
So at the end of the day, maybe for 5 seconds they care. After that, they forget
you're
about
old
it.
news.
And
You're
it's
old news.
and they're gonna treat you based on how you're dealing with that mistake.
Yeah.
If they see you still like broken by it and not
Yeah.
moved on, they'll treat you that way. If
Yep.
they see that, oh no, you made a mistake, moved on from it,
Yeah.
they'll treat you that way also.
Yeah.
So there you guys have it. This is the EDJ podcast at EDJ Studios, and this was the beautiful
Rell.
There you go.
Thank you.
And
Thank you for
you guys are
having
gonna
me.
be seeing more of her. Hope you guys like this content. We're gonna bring you guys, more topics like this and a little bit of more, girl flavor.
A little estrogen in here.
There you guys have it.
Yeah.
Thank you.